Snyder?
Here.
I'm not throwing the agenda. Before you get into that, I do want to, I'm sure I'll miss somebody, but I'm sure everybody in this room was at the Riverfest. If not, you missed one of the best community celebrations we've ever had. So for the people that are here that had anything to do with the Riverfest, a great job, well done. For the people that aren't here, you know, when you see those people, and you, especially the three chair people, but there was a ton of people involved in that, Jim. You know more better than I do when it's right down to it. But that brought thousands of people. I've never seen a car show that big, but I think somebody told me 184 we had, and that was just tremendous. It really was. So that was huge for the city of Sunbury, for the people that come in from out of the community and go back and tell that to their friends. It was just a great weekend. The people from Nashville, Tennessee, those two girls were just they were amazing. And so it was just like I say, a lot of, you don't know all the hard work that was put in, but there was a ton of it there. And you see those people involved, or even the city workers, thank them for a job well done, because I mean the weather was perfect for us, but that clearly made a major impact, a positive impact for the city, and I want to thank everybody who was involved. If you didn't get there, you want to put on your list for next year. Clearly, it was the place to be this year.
And they're all volunteers. So.
Right. Is there any audience comment on the few things we have on the agenda? Okay. Under unfinished business, there's nothing listed. I just wanted to say that there's at least the Julia Street and North River Avenue project that'll be coming up for auction in the next week or two, and I believe the property on Woolworth Street will be coming up, and I believe there's a third one somewhere, but that'll all be advertised. You'll see it in the paper. We've accumulated a list of about 20 people that have been showing up at these auctions, so we'll notify all those personally, let them know what the properties are to get more participation at the site. So you'll be reading about that in the newspaper, on the news in the very near future. New business, Jim?
Yes, we have a change order for food court corner on the inspection fees for Wolverton Street, mainly because of the fact that things missed by the engineer when they designed the project, and we did run into a problem on Wolverton Street itself with the cracks which will be cut out and so forth. So in your package you have a breakout. What you're going for the extra $2,966.39. So any questions?
Will this actually take care of all the stuff we've been hearing about then?
Yes. On this part of it, yes. We have some costs incurred. Some costs we have to pay, some costs it's the municipal authority's responsibility. And we're going to get a breakout for the next council meeting exactly who will be what.
So what exactly caused all this? What was the reason for the extra expenses?
Well, the engineer missed all the little sidewalks from the residence to the street.
And we're paying for what the engineer missed, or what?
No, this is the inspection side. We didn't get to the engineer part of it yet. That's another phase. We need to address that issue down the road. This company here does the inspections of the project. Okay?
Yep.
You're saying essentially the inspection costs increase slightly because there will eventually be a change to the engineer.
Exactly.
More work.
More work.
They have to look at.
Exactly. Yes. Any other questions? I need a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Approve the pay invoices, Todd?
Yes, tonight actually we received, again on Friday last week, approval to pay invoices in the amount of $115,374.77 for the general fund and $112.05 for the liquid fuels account.
Second.
Bartello?
Yes.
Ister?
Yes.
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 Snyder?
Yes.
Like I said, not much on the agenda. Anything open discussion?
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
live over on
Just give us your name, please, for the record.
My name is Eugene Hill.
Thank you.
I live over on Chestnut Street, and I was made aware that you guys have a project possibility coming up beginning of the year on redoing the street.
Which street is that?
Chestnut Street.
Chestnut.
And I just would like to know what might be occurring as far as what all is going to be taking place with it.
Kevin?
Right now, what we're standing at is we replace all catch basins,
Mm-hmm.
all the way up through, all the way from 1st Street to 10th Street. And we're looking at milling it down, and either use using, what's it called? Yeah, it's an overlay with a stone that goes in the lay and they roll it over and spin it in and it makes it hard, or with asphalt, total asphalt. We're not quite sure what direction we're going in yet. We're just getting the economic reviews back from the state and DEA, DEP and all that stuff, and we're just gonna make the decision. So mostly it's just gonna be new catch basin and resurfacing the project.
Okay, the only reason why I asked that was because of resurfacing, we already got a big water problem over here, especially on 200 block of Chestnut Street, where there's hardly any curbing. Most of it's busted up and stuff, so every time it rains hard, this water is coming up on the sidewalks, going down between the houses. We're getting water in our basements from it, and you know, at one time somebody said, you guys talked about sidewalks and curbing in that area. And myself, I'd be more thinking we'd have more of a water problem if we just resurface that. It's gonna bring the road up a little bit higher.
No, everything's gonna be taken down, it's gonna be sited, it's gonna be level. What's gonna be is we're gonna take it down, and before they lay this inlay stuff down, it'll be all sited and level. And with the new catch basins that we put in, it might take some of the water problem away, because they're all probably the old brick catch basins in there. They might have collapsed, they might have, be damaged over there.
All right.
But we'll make sure, whatever decision we make, it's probably gonna be the April or May, you'll see this project take off. But
Okay, yeah, I was just a little bit concerned because I know there is a water problem because we live in there and stuff.
we're having a lot of problems with water, because we're getting a lot of heavy rains this year. More
Yeah.
than we have in the past, and it's coming down bad, and, it's a problem all through the city.
Okay.
And the other night when it rained, I had a lake going down my house, I mean, a river, it was a river. You can see
Yeah.
that in a while.
I know since they've done the alley behind, which would be Raspberry Avenue, we've had more problems because of the harder rains with water actually coming back into the yards. But then when you got a river coming through the front from the street, then you got coming from the back. I mean, there's probably 3 times this summer that I've had water within 8 foot of the back of my house.
I know the municipal authorities addressing it, the rainwater that we have, and I know they're trying to replace it with more big open pipes and newer catch basins. So I know they're working on that problem too.
Okay.
They know there's around town, I know there's a problem up there, Madison Avenue there. But when you look at a project like that, you're looking at $2.5–3 million. It's an expensive project, so they're putting it on one list and moving forward as much as they possibly can.
Okay.
Gene, one quick question. You being a property owner of Chestnut Street, if they would decide to rehab the street, sidewalks, curbing, and resurfacing the street, as you being a property owner, would you be willing to take and participate in some of the cost?
I would participate in some of the costs. As far as the sidewalk raising, my sidewalk was just replaced before I bought the place. And I know that's gonna have to come up. I don't mind putting some money out of my pocket, but I don't wanna pay the cost of the whole thing. I mean, if we're gonna have a water problem, no, that's gonna be a bigger problem because of the foundation of my home. And, I'm be more concerned about that, and who's gonna be responsible?
For a long-term solution, the best way to go would be rebuild the whole street. The street and sidewalks, curbing, project.
Yeah, pretty much like they did out in Wolverton to a point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gene, you said 200 block?
Yeah.
You live in the 200 block? Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yeah,
Go ahead. You'll be next.
I just wanted to say that the trailer and everything that was taken down, they did a good job. They have it almost all out. Right down there on Keller Street where they ripped it out today. Everything tore out, just about cleaned
Yeah,
up.
they just got a little bit of cleanup in doing it, so.
But they were there and did a good
So
job.
they ran us a little bit of problem, but it went pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just minor cleanup, and nice whole lot there.
I just want to let you know they did a good job.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
yeah, I had a question. August the 4th in the Daily Items report about losses at the snack bar at the swimming pool. Now, you were quoted as saying it was a few dollars. Could you quantify that?
I don't understand the question. August the 4th,
In the Daily Items, an article about the snack bar at the ice rink and swimming pool. Losses at the snack bar.
go ahead.
Now, you were quoted as saying it was a few dollars. Could you quantify that?
Over here, I'm at the snack bar.
Okay.
What's the question? You want to do what?
I said, according to the article, it was quoted losses of a few dollars. Could you tell me how much those few dollars were?
No, I can't.
Well, I have figures here that says 39,000 over 3 years.
Okay,
You think that's acceptable?
no, it's not accurate either, but go ahead.
Well, that's according to the city's revenue and expenditure account, so it's not accurate, it's your accounts that are wrong.
Okay,
Over 3 years, the numbers are pretty accurate.
well,
Okay,
the only thing I'm saying though, he counted man hours, I believe, shouldn't have been counted.
That very well could be the case. I mean, you'd have to sit down and go over all of it, but that is what is shown in the city's books.
And I believe in your budget, Mr. Snyder, that was going to be passed last year, you were going to phase out the snack bar this year.
You are correct, that's the reason why I voted no for last year's budget.
And it was put back in again. Now, according to the budget for this year, you're showing a projected loss of $15,000 this year. Now, why is it put back in, losing the $15,000 of taxpayers' money?
Very good question.
Once again, that's not accurate, but once again, we solicited for somebody to take snack bar over, and you didn't volunteer. I was shocked.
Well, it's not accurate, that's what the budget says. I've got the city budget for this
I
year
understand
here.
what the budget says, I know the numbers, I see the numbers all the
Yeah.
time, but nobody wants to take the snack bar over. Now, we have an option of shutting it down, shutting the pool down. That's probably what you want.
No, I don't want the pool shut down. The snack bar is separate from the pool.
No, we just want the snack bar shut down.
Well, I think it was losing so much money, yes.
Well, we had gentlemen like you take and volunteer your time, we won't be losing the labor cost. Are you volunteering for next year?
No, I'm not.
Oh, that's what I thought.
If you do remember the discussion of budget, that's what the discussion was, and try to get somebody to run it, they were not successful getting it.
Well, can I ask you, was that, I mean, just out of curiosity, was it actually put out to bid for us to do that? or how-
We advertised. We had one,
We couldn't get a concession stand.
Was it just something you guys did on your own?
no,
I don't remember us talking about it.
we looked, matter of fact, the gentleman from up here further in town, what's his name? Anyhow.
But I was just asking honestly, just curiosity, you guys have, so ultimately it was solicited, we didn't have any respondents. All you can do
Well,
is
Joe,
ask
you
again.
brought the question up before. We raised the prices up on the candy bars. You remember that?
I brought it up. I
Right.
don't remember you doing anything. Well,
You were there. You and Lane were up there checking all the prices out.
I don't remember you doing anything about it.
We raised the prices. That's what you wanted. The candy bars were raised.
Nobody informed me of that.
I told you last year. We discussed it. Yes. Pay attention. You can volunteer too.
Close it down, we got that machine.
No, we had budget discussion.
That's ultimately just something to put back in discussion for this year.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Cheryl, Regina Russell. I would like to ask if the council would consider some sort of ordinance that the tenants would have to abide in the city. It seems like the homeowners, we have a lot of responsibilities of what we have to do for our property as well as tenants, if you have tenants. And if you walk around the city, especially, I guess you call this the downtown area, anything below the hill, when you ride around or if you walk around, the properties that look bad, to me, and I don't know too much about the numbers, are renters. Those properties have all type of trash, furniture, baby carriages, plants. They just have things that make the front of the property look bad. And when you have people coming through the area, driving through the area, whether they're visitors or coming back for the city, it just looks terrible. I have tenants on the side of me, I complain, I've been complaining all the time. I have to clean up the cigarette butts that they throw on the ground. I'm not even gonna complain about the high school kids that come through because that's to be expected. But when you have grown-ups at nighttime, daytime, and they're permitted to have their backyards or the side of the house looking like it's some sort of dump site, we got a problem. And I'd like to know if there's some sort of way you can make tenants responsible for how the property looks that they're renting.
But we have an ordinance, now the property maintenance ordinance, which is that, I mean, it's up to the landlord to keep his tenants
Yes, but the landlord doesn't know unless the city makes the landlord responsible for maybe coming around and inspecting the property,
That's what
like
we-
Section 8 people, usually they have a counselor that comes around every so many months or once a year to look at how they're keeping their home up, you know, if the children are fed well. Can that be enforced? And would you please consider it?
There's a lot of those laws are on the books already.
Well, how do we enforce it, sir? Because what do I have to do? Keep calling or taking pictures or putting up videos? What do I'm not trying to embarrass anyone, put anyone on the spot, fault find. I just would like some sort of results made. And if I can help doing that, my helping, I think, is making phone calls and writing, but how frustrating can it get for homeowners? We're paying taxes, we're doing what the city requires us to do, so how do we make the tenants responsible? That's all I'm asking.
Mrs. Russell, we just transferred an employee over to the code office last Thursday. And his major job is going to be handling complaints and making sure people stay in compliance with trash, garbage, high grass, outside maintenance on homes. And that's all he's going to do from here on out.
Well, thank you. That sounds good.
We just made this decision Thursday. We sent him out, he got his ID, he was sworn in. And that's all he's gonna do. And he's gonna be out in the afternoons and on Saturdays afternoons watching for people doing work without license for contractor fees, things like that.
What
So
is his name, please?
His name is TJ.
DJ?
TJ.
TJ, thank you.
We
Yeah,
have
we
to
just-
this position?
No, we didn't have to, all we did was transfer an
No vote
employee.
of council, no nothing, just.
You know, he works for the city, works for the city
He
now.
works for the city now. So that's all
You
he's
can
gonna
pay
do.
raise or anything like that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Go ahead, you're next. Yes.
Okay, you know my name, so anyhow, getting back to what this lady here said, that isn't there something in the ordinance now that says that any property that has 3 or more calls for code, that council is,
News of the property.
they vote on whether that should become a nuisance property or not? And then what happens after that? Does that owner, that landlord, does he lose his renter's permit?
He can, yes. That's what I'm saying, there's stuff in the laws.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I know a property next to us, we've called code numerous times, and it's still the same thing over and over again, you know, whether it be garbage, high grass, or burning, or whatever it was. But, you know, nothing has ever been done as far as council voting on that being a nuisance property.
Is it probably would be added to?
It is a rental, yes, it's a house rental.
What's the address?
121, 22 North 12th Street. And there's got to be code violations here, there's has to be. I know that place was rented when it was condemned. Code inspected it, he was allowed to rent it, and they took, after the people moved in, they took truckloads of garbage out of it. How did the code miss that?
If you get on the Redevelopment Authority part of our city website, every property that we're looking at in that situation should be on there. So if there's a property you know about that's not on there that we missed, then you want to call down the city so we can get it on there. That list is pretty large right now, and that's the list that we're attacking and going after. So again, if you know of a property that's not, just to get a chance to check that out. If you know of a property that's not on that list, just give us a call, and we'll see why it's not on that list, or if it's you know, didn't get a priority yet or whatever it was. There's a 217, 219 up there, just moved to the top at our last meeting, 12th Street, so that must be right up from where you're talking about. Yeah, that property's on the top of the list now, the other 4, which I can't think of, I just offhand, just remember that one. But again, that's why we're trying to keep that list updated, so everybody can see what list, who we have on there, who we don't have on there, and if we're missing somebody, that's all you have to do, is just give us a call, and we'll see why we're missing it.
My thought is that, you know, if code is called 3 or more times, council has the knowledge of that to vote. Maybe this is going to take care of some of the problems, to put the pressure on these landlords
Yeah, but we also have some on that list, just like that one I just told you about, there is no landlord, people walk away from them, and that's why we're trying to get
Yeah.
acquisition, so we
And
can
that's
do
fine,
something with
and
the problem.
you're doing a great job with that, but people that are actually renting and living there, and the landlord is out of town or maybe even out of state.
Well, let us know, and we'll just give that to Jim, so we'll check, see
But
what's
it's,
out
I
there.
mean,
Well, it's like Todd said, maybe we should get an updated list all the time, we don't. And we don't know how those people are actually getting fined, and what magistrate are paying fines, we don't know that without looking into it. We
I
can do
have,
that.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna give you an example. A double house, okay? Owner lives on one side, rents the other side. Okay, follow me? The owner moves out. Now, all right, now they have to have a permit for that other unit that they're renting, am I correct?
Yeah, they don't probably already have one, right?
Okay, okay, she moves out, or the owner moves out. Now, she's moving a family member, or so to speak, a family member. Is she required to get a renter's permit for that also?
It depends if she's renting it. If it's a family member and she's not renting it,
In other words, if they're living there, not paying rent, is that what you're
See,
saying?
I have that problem right next door to me, Mr. Snowmer, and it gripes me in a roundabout way. I have a double house next to me, and some people bought it that live up in Watsontown. And there's two families living in that home, and they don't pay rent. They just live in the house because they're family. And that's a loophole, and that's how they're getting away with it.
Yeah, but now, on the other hand, though, isn't code supposed to inspect before it's rented, or before anybody moves in?
If it's an owner, if they're not occupying, they're not paying rent, no, we're not getting in there.
What about code violations that were
On the
already there
outside-
before?
On the outside, before, it's an owner home, and they don't, it's like me trying to come to your house and see what's in your house. It's just not gonna happen, or my house, or Jim's house, or anybody's.
Again, what's on the exterior, there's.
The exterior,
things
we
you
can do a lot of stuff on the exterior, but we can't do anything in the interior.
And I just, you know,
I know it doesn't seem fair, right, but you know, it's very.
it's frustrating
Yeah.
is what it is,
Sometimes
because what
it
you
is.
get is riffraff coming in there. A lot of it.
and that's again why we try to put that on that public list so people
And
can
to
see
me, I think
that.
we're gonna have to be more strict with it, because, you know, the other communities around us right now are going in this one strike program, you know, and kicking
Yes.
out, and all these other people are gonna try to find the easiest borough or city or township or whatever to go live. So for us, I think we have to keep up with the same thing that's going on with a lot of these other cities, that because we don't want them here, they don't want them here, so we have to be hard with them too.
And then also what you're getting is you're probably getting drug dealers, which you can do nothing about. Correct.
Until we catch them, until we get them, we can shut down.
So that sort of push your landlord-tenant thing down the wash, basically.
No, not when it, drugs, we can shut down, they will take the permits away from them, we can shut the place down.
See, the paper, there was a guy from Mifflinburg complaining that we are passing these laws down here for people moving to Mifflinburg.
Good for them. And I'm from Sunbury originally, so.
Something must have worked, I don't want to go to Mifflinburg. I'm sorry, Joey.
Yes, while we're discussing that matter, you might as well put 844 and 846 on that list,
What street?
Edison Avenue, because they have no clue how to cut grass, how to trim grass. I'll give you an example of what happened up until today. They had toys in the middle of the yard, and whoever cut the grass cut around the toys. And then they didn't trim. And they have a habit of not taking out their garbage. And when they do, it's contractor-sized bags. Because there's no garbage cans anywhere around the property.
Okay.
And I have a question for you, Kevin. You were at a meeting in Cape Town. I'm a member of Cape Town. And you viewed a home on,
Alice Street,
it's not Alice Street, Amy.
maybe, right.
What was the result of that? Because it's still the same. That was after that
I
fiasco,
wish I could
that
tell you
was
exactly what's going on,
April
but the boys are here,
22nd
they
council
have a
meeting?
thing. But I will get information to you and Julian, I will call you on that, I'll find out, because we did talk to them, we went up there and sat, because they were gonna put a fence up, trying to hide it when I got
Well,
out.
that's exactly correct.
Correct. I said,
And there
"No,
was
that's not
somebody
gonna
that
float."
would not do it because of that.
Right, well, we
Because of the
have
air
to-
conditioner sitting in the yard and
Everything else.
all that other,
But they made promises, they were gonna clean it, but I don't know where it's at, I haven't discussed it with them lately, but I will find out, because I did talk to, what's the lady's name, was at that meeting, I can't think of her name. She's She sold homes. Yeah, Jan Dockey. Yeah, she's one of the.
Yeah, she was at that meeting, at Cape Town
I will
meeting.
find out, I'll give you a call, and let you know Joey where it stands.
Okay.
I'll be back in town.
You have that address?
Sorry?
No, I know where it's at.
Oh, you know where it's at?
Yep, I know exactly.
I think it's 124.
Yeah, it sits right down the street. I know exactly.
That was
It
a
wasn't
beautiful
last year.
home by the last two owners, and now it's crap.
Yep, I'll find out and get back to you. All right, Joey?
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Regina Russell again. I know that you have an ordinance in place that says if you charge $1 for rent, that you need a permit for occupancy. And I also know that you can't prove if people have their family members paying them rent. Is there any way that the taxes can be cross-checked to see if those people are claiming that they are paying renters rent? Yeah,
Not with local tax.
not with local.
That's gonna be a federal file.
Oh.
Anything else? All right, the only thing we really have on a discussion, and nothing's gonna happen September 9th, and I think most people have been talking about this, but if anybody wants to bring anything else up to talk about, but again, the vote's not until September 9th on the outdoor burning. You're more than welcome to do so. Okay.
I did
Yeah.
have one comment from a woman on Facebook. I don't see her here tonight. She said she was gonna try and make it here. She said her opinion before was in favor of the burning pits, until recently her neighbor got one, and now she's against it because all of her belongings and furniture and everything smell like camp. And she says she doesn't want to live that way, and she thinks 10 feet is way too close. And she checked, and her neighbor's is actually 36 feet away from her house, and it still has her place smelling like campfire. So I just wanted to put her comment out there, since she's not here.
Music in Cameron Park, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. August 27th, this past country, September 3rd, Timothy's Bird. That's also bike night, which I understand has been pretty successful. Yes, sir.
I have a question on that. It was brought up after their last time here, I think, somewhere along the line, to make sure that there was not going to be any cooking in the park, and maybe that should be reinforced.
We had that discussion with him when he was in.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank everybody for coming. This meeting's adjourned.